I'd like to start by giving an overview of our component library documentation. This is probably my biggest contribution to the organization, to the adoption of the digital design language so that we can standardize our look and feel throughout the Citibank Online application, as well as to the iteration speed that we have here at Citi. When I started, we didn't have any means of actually testing our components. What we do is we create a little test app, and we would resolve the defect or enhance the component, and we'd get into this trap where we'd fix it for one thing and we'd break it for another, and it was creating this cyclical problem and the cyclical defect, and complexity was growing without bounds. So we created this UI interface for actually local testing. So for example, if I put on the Social Security mask, you can see that I've actually applied that to the UI, and then that actually outputs here the HTML necessary for a consuming team to just copy and paste this code directly into their application or their feature, which has really led to, we get a lot fewer questions about how to work with our components and a lot fewer defects from improper implementation of them. Beyond just the UI interface for configuring these, we also provide common examples, common use cases, and the DDL suggested usages for these components. We also have the API table here for them to understand if it's not clear just from the configurations panels on the playground. And then often there are some nuances or ADA considerations that we need to mention for these components, and how to actually import and work with those components within your library. So the reason I bring this up is because this has posed an interesting challenge where originally we were considering just the customer as our user or our consumer, but really we have two levels of consumers. We have the banking customers, which will be seeing the components, but we also have the development teams here within Citi who need to be consuming these components and iterating quickly to meet their design needs. I refer to this on my team as a higher order design, where we have to design for a simple API. We have to design for a quick understanding of that API and how to work with it and modify it and work with it dynamically. But then we also have to have a quality UI such that when we put it on the final page, it looks and works as expected.